Hello everybody, welcome to the Gypsy Moto Show. We're really glad you're here tonight. Tonight's show is sponsored by Great Western Tire in Spearfish and Western Construction in Sturgis. And both of those people are great sponsors. They've helped with the racetrack for many, many years. And we really want to thank them for helping this be possible tonight. So, Great Western Tire and Western Construction.
It's the Western night.
It's the Western night. That's right.
We should have wore cowboy hats.
Right. That's Or
I'd like to see you in a cowboy
Moto hats.
I want to see Aaron in a cowboy hat.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I probably got a hat around here I could put.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing we're getting to have lots and lots of swag and lots of products. I mean, that's one thing I hadn't meant to talk about this, but like, man, we have a whole bunch of new products that we're going to have this year that we haven't had before, and we're getting a new store thing lined up to go. So I know one super cool thing. This is totally going out in left field, but one of the cool things we're going to be able to do now is like if you get one of our trophies, we'll have the option to have your name engraved in it, or depending on what type of trophy it is, or ink jetted, or it'll just depend on what it. But we'll have that. We have all the equipment now to do that, to actually personalize it from that race, kind of a thing, and parts on your bike.
Make it harder to lie.
What's that?
It'll make it harder to lie.
It'll make it harder to lie for sure. Yeah, but we have a bunch of new options that way. So anyway, we'll talk about that another night. But it's going to be kind of cool. So.
Yeah, those Gypsy Moto, the big straw hats were really popular last year with the heat.
Those, you know what? There's nothing better when it's hot out to have one of them. I always thought they looked kind of weird, but you do it one time and it's like, oh, I get it now.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I think once we got those, I never saw Jason without one.
Right. It's or anybody that wasn't wearing one, as soon as you get one, is like, yeah, that's the go-to. It's kind of like kind of like being under a tent or something the whole time.
Stylish and functional.
That's right. And honestly, that is probably one of the best things a motocrosser can have in, your equipment for the times you're not racing. When you're walking around the racetrack and it's hot out, I mean, that all that does is it's just saving the energy. And I don't think anybody realizes how much you get zapped walking around out in the sun. And when you got something like that, it definitely helps.
Yeah, if you can't afford to have your mechanic walk around and carry an umbrella,
right?
You just gotta
get an umbrella girl. Right. Well, and on top of that, if you're still wearing your boots, man, lugging those things around.
For sure.
Did you see before last weekend's race? I think it was Cameron or Seth Hammaker. He was getting ready for his, and he went out he was like jogging. He was outside the stadium and he was jogging in the stadium. He had his boots on. I was like, dude, I'd already be worn out before I even got on my bike.
Yeah. I don't know if you needed to run to the outhouse or something, but I saw that video too.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. Well, I want to tell everybody about the practice this weekend. So there is a practice at Gillette this weekend on Saturday. So just to give everybody a heads up, they've done a ton of work on that track, and I think it's going to be a super, super fun day at that racetrack. So anyway, Saturday, practice at Gillette. And then I want to go ahead.
I'd love to go, but it's kind of a shot. It's like an 8-hour drive.
That's a ways for you.
You live in Minnesota.
Right.
Yeah, I'll just go to Meadow Valley or something close.
A little bit closer. Yeah. And you might go, it sounds like, huh, Chip?
I may. Yeah. So I think the practice is from 10 to 2. And
right.
It's a fun track, man. When it's prepped, that is a fun track. A
It
lot of elevation changes.
Right. And when it's prepped, the dirt is just spectacular.
It is.
Super loamy. It's pretty fun.
Yep.
I don't think I'm going to be able to make it because I'm going to be working on the track. So, I got my suspension and stuff pulled apart. Oh, shout out to Mike Coyle. Mike's getting my suspension serviced, so that's kind of cool. Oh, I didn't have to send it back to Jeremy, but Mike's going to get it all ready to go for the season for me. And also, I got my pipe off, and huge shout out to Joe Warman. Joe's doing some work on my pipe for me, so thanks guys, appreciate it. But, anyway, moving on, going to make everybody aware of our races this year. So April 17th through the 18th will be practice day and the District 30 Championship. May 15th through the 17th will be a practice day, and then the Loretta Lynn's qualifier. Then June 5th through the 7th will be an AMA race that's part of the Gypsy Moto Border Wars series, and that will be in Gillette. And then July 17th through the 19th will be a practice day, and also another AMA Border Wars race at Gillette. And then we will have the Border Wars Championship and AMA South Dakota State Championship on August 1st and 2nd. And we possibly might make that the end of July, the last day of July 1st and 2nd. So we might turn that into a 3-day event as well. But that day is going to, the first 4 are all going to be 2 moto formats, and then the last race will be a GP format. And so yeah,
I had some questions about that. So did I hear right, the April event is the first one, is that a Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
It is.
Okay.
Yep,
so then we're breaking those motos out. Saturday be different than Sunday in terms of all the classes, right?
It will. Yep, it'll be, what we'll be doing there is following the Loretta's format, and each day, we'll have that out soon, what classes are on each day, kind of a thing, so people will know. So some people may only be racing one day, like say if you were going to come race 60 plus, which we're going to have now, that's only going to be one day, and that would give you know which day that is, and that if you wanted to just come to the practice and just race that 60 plus, that'd give you the other day to go do something with your wife or whatever, kids, whatever. So that's going to be cool. Most everybody else, there'll be enough classes that you'll be racing both days. So
I'm curious, there's a whole bunch of questions coming to mind here.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that 60 plus, is that going to be on, will that be on the day of the race, or do we set it like baseball birthday where it's one certain day of the year? Or
it's going to be, to be sure, I'm not sure if I understand your question, but I think I do. It's going to be every single race, and Chip fought hard for it, and we had quite the discussion in that meeting, whether Rochelle's like, I just don't have any more room, and I mean, she's tight. But
what is the end? We'll go to the end.
Oh yeah, is that what you're asking? My
No. So it's like baseball birthday means when you're playing baseball, they'll pick a day, and it'll be April 1st or August 1st, and whatever your date, your age is on that date, regardless of what it is when the games are, you play that for the summer season.
I gotcha.
Because you know what I'm saying?
I do. I think we're going with the AMA rule on age limits. I believe that is whatever age you are at the first of the year, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
That's how that works. So,
well, cool. Then next year I can do 60.
Yeah. You can do
60. No, I can't.
One more
year. Because I'll be 50. I think I'll be 15. Yeah, I'll be 59 this summer.
Okay.
So
one more year.
So tell Rochelle we need a plus 70.
All right. That's what
my buddy Randy, he's 72 and he's stupid fast. Like, wow. I mean, he and I've been cat and mousing for decades, And he's always like, I'm getting too old for this. But then
Who is that?
he'll go out and he'll be right with you. I mean, I'm serious. I'm not bullshitting at all. The dude is fast.
Who are you talking about?
Randy Feldhaus.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
that old?
yeah,
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, he's 72.
Wow. Pretty
But
impressive.
you and Lee would have been close to Seth, but maybe a little older.
Yeah.
Lee and Michael Cook were tight.
Uh-huh.
And Lee's an A rider, so you might have known him. Maybe
Yeah.
Randy spent a lot of time on the short track back in that. He was a K or a J or whatever
Yeah.
those letters mean. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was the District 30 thing. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. Very
yeah.
cool.
I'll
Huh.
text Rochelle and say we need a 70.
I'll tell her that we're doing it. Yeah, she'll just.
Losing mine.
So that's what we do at the next meeting. Is Chip? You just need to suggest it, and then we'll all go in. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Let's take a vote on it right now.
Right. And we'll play it up for like 15 minutes to where we're all just fighting it out to where it's got to happen, and then we'll tell.
Yeah, because Aaron knows at least 10 guys in that class. It's going to come here.
Right.
I do think it's really cool to do those. I mean, obviously you get into the plus 60 and plus 65, and the numbers are going to go down. But in a way, it's like it's awesome just to have the class.
Right.
Yeah. Even if there's only one guy in it, it's just
Right.
awesome.
It's pretty cool. And the other thing is, a lot of times that brings people back. It's kind of a crazy thing. I was thinking to myself, well, would I care if I had to race a plus 50 when I'm 60? I was thinking, probably not. Then I got thinking, but then I could race 2 races, or 3 races, or 4 races, so it's kind of in the vet class. So, yeah. That's
But, I mean, as a 61-year-old guy, I can tell you, there's a huge difference between 61 and 50.
Sure.
Huge difference.
Sure.
I mean, and I feel like I'm in pretty good shape to be 61, but it's a big difference.
Sure.
I mean, you start noticing it. I mean, late 50s, early 60s, that your reflexes aren't quite as quick, and you don't have, the guts that you had when you were younger to do stuff that you would do before. So you're just out there for the fun of it, and that seems to be the big thing with the older guys is, I even know in the plus 50 class, you're sitting out there on the line and, you're chit-chatting with all the people on the line. When you were younger, you'd just be looking forward. You're like, I don't want to talk to this guy. He's my competitor.
Right.
But when you get older, you're like, hey, this guy's my age. We're going to have fun out here.
The vet races are a blast.
We're all out there for the fun of it. It's just eventually you figure it out.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it is.
That's for sure.
One fastest guy in the world. The rest of us better just be out there for the fun of it. Or
That's it, man. You go out there and have fun, and it'll keep you young.
Well, and again, it's kind of how you deal with things. That's the other thing you see in those personalities, because we won't mention any names. We've talked about some of the guys that you meet on the line that are still vet riders, and man, they're still just like intense, and that's how they got to get ready. And then there's some people that are just like, they got their personality and they're just hamming it up, and even a lot of the fast guys I know, they can be either way at the line, and it's just how they deal with not really stress, but deal with, hey, I got a race coming here, and it's kind of the way it goes sometimes.
You become a lot more humble, I think, as you get older. I mean, if I was in my 40s, I didn't want this guy next to me to win, or even my 30s, whatever.
Sure.
And I didn't want to yuck it up with him. No, sir. I want him to be worried about me.
Sure.
And when you get to be older, you're like, what do I got to prove?
Right.
I got nothing to prove. I'm out here to have fun.
But there's that other thing where if you can yuck it up and get the whole shot and just run away from everybody, then you already got in their head, because they're thinking, well, he wasn't even serious when we started, and now he took off, and then he's still doing it. And that
I think it's easier to
fluke, but I
think it's easier to reach over and hit the kill button, but that's just me.
Especially if they got a kickstart. That's what really messes you
You
up.
Suzuki people.
Then you're sitting there kicking it. By the time you get right going, you're like huffing and puffing.
You could spot me half a track and still beat me. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Well, you got the 60 plus class, so you better be winning that one, Chip.
No promises. Let's just say I'll be showing up. With the good Lord's will, I'll be showing up, ready to go.
I think we'll have quite a few people that want to do it, because just that night when we did it, we got 3 people that were already fully committed. And one of the guys hasn't raced for, well, like Steve Owen, I don't think he's probably raced for 20 years, but
wow, that's awesome.
He's all about it, so that'll be cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Mark's
Al
going to do
60, isn't he? Al Michaels?
Al Michaels, see, that'd be a great place for Al. And
yep.
And Al, at his age, is still super fast, so, I mean, he's going to be loving that one. So I think actually all the guys I know at that age group are all going to be really close, so that everybody will have a great battle and love it.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, Hermanson is 60 also, right?
Yeah, Al would be perfect for that. Al would have a blast in that, for sure. So, I mean, I think I'm excited about it.
It would be our biggest class.
Yeah, we'll see all the old OGs out there for sure.
Rochelle was wrong all along.
She was, yeah.
You can put us at the very end when the track's the roughest. That's fine.
Right, I'll tell her. I think I know when it's going, but I'll just wait till I talk to her for sure. I'm trying to figure out a thing where...
When the track is dry.
When the track is dry? All right.
I did have another question on the races, the race format. So, like, we were kind of all in on the GPs, and I mean, yeah. I think it was we did have good luck with the Loretta's format last year, I felt.
Right.
But the GPs was kind of where we were going until we started prepping for Loretta's. But now, like, it seems like we're going to settle in on our qualifier, and we have the other early race that we do. We did it Loretta's format to sort of keep us ready. Is there any thought of just making that race a GP again, so we'd be GP Loretta's GP? Or
I think it's a great question, and here's where I was at with it, and this was kind of our discussion on it. If I had it my way, GP all day long, just because it's just more. You get a longer race. You actually have time to set things up. If you don't like the lines that you're trying to make, you've got, probably another 5 laps, or probably more than that, probably another 7 laps that you don't get in the 2 moto format. So you can start building a line to get around somebody, or just that, that's your line that you don't necessarily have that time with the 2 moto format, just because you may only get 5 laps or something. And so anyway, in saying that, I think next year we will do that. This year, again, we were like, I just want to be sure that we're ready for the Lorettas. So the District 30 is just going to be another prep, basically, plus get everybody used to it. I think by next year, everybody will be used to the Lorettas format. And I mean, not just us, but as far as the racers go. And so we'll have a different option, but for this year, probably not.
So I had another couple of questions.
Yeah.
So do we know hair scrambles wise what we're thinking for this year?
Really good question there too. So right now we're kind of on let's wait and see, and we're going to be putting out a post about that this week, but we're on wait and see because literally we've had almost no moisture, and the way the fires have been blowing up around here, I mean, there's fires that start with just like a little teeny fire, and then they're up into hundreds of acres, and they're just like in places we've never had them before. And that hair scrambles course is in some pretty dense forested area, and so we're still just waiting to see if we get the rains that we hope we get. And if we do, then we're going to keep going just like normal. If we don't, we'll probably postpone it. We had talked about doing like a Moto scramble, but that's almost the problem with that is it's going to be on the day of a bunch of other races, motocross races, and so we don't want to step on anybody else's toes and mess that up. It doesn't really matter when you do a hair scramble because it's usually a different group of people, so that's why we didn't mind doing the hair scramble. But I think if we did a Moto scramble, we could pull some people away from people that we like and want to succeed. So
Yeah.
we don't even want to mess that up. So that's something that we'll just have to see what happens, and then see if we're going to postpone it, move it, or if we'll just do something at the track later. Something that we
What
can
was
actually.
the tentative date?
The tentative date was, well, God, I don't have it here with me, but
Okay.
it was in May. I know that. I got to look it up. Sorry about that. I'll find out and we'll get it out there. I know it's on Facebook, but I don't remember what the date was.
So the reason I'm just curious about the hare scrambles because it seems like that just keeps developing and growing. But I also like when I was coming through Mesquite, I was gonna try to just practice day there, but it turned out they had that Verb 500 there, and I thought, the format is similar to like our old hare scrambles where they use the Moto track, and then they try to add in. They're out there in the desert, so they added in a set of sand rollers and
Sure.
some other. I think they used a couple tracks. Anyway, either way, I think they were 10 to 15 minute laps.
Okay.
But then it was a team race of 500 minutes, so that's 8 hours, 20 minutes. Wow! And I thought that might be kind of fun.
Now I know what you're talking about. What you texted me. Yeah. That. Sorry, it took me a little bit to catch on. Yeah, that. Well, that's kind of what I almost had in mind when I was saying like a moto scramble.
Right.
With what we could do. Kind of like those original ones we were doing.
Yep.
But then we got a bunch of other stuff we could add in. So it would be, and to me, like as a moto guy, that would be the thing that reminds me why I'm doing the hare scramble. Because I got to be honest, when I race hare scrambles, it's fun, but then first thing you know, you get in these spots where the only options are you follow the guy or you crash the guy, and of course you can't crash the guy, you don't want to do. So you follow the guy, and then you get to the next guy, and you follow that guy, and then you finally get to some places you can pass. And that's kind of my issue with just a plain hare scramble, is it becomes a little bit boring to me. Now, it's not, but with like a moto scramble, like you're racing on the motocross track, every time you get back to the jump section, it's like, oh yeah, I remember why I'm doing this. Or like when we would do the one where we were going up the verticross, every time I'd get to the verticross, I'd be like, oh yeah, and then I was super excited to go through all the other stuff, the single track and whatever, and not that isn't fun, but it just wasn't as fun to me. And I think, on the flip side, if you're a hare scramble guy, well, you'd be excited about the single track stuff, you might not like the jump stuff, but that way you really find out who is the best. And then the other thing I thought would be cool to do, if we do it, we could run on the TT course, come back out, run on the AFT TT course, come across, jump into the short track, and then do like some enduro cross stuff down in the short track.
Oh yeah.
And then come back out. So it'd be like 3 different types of disciplines, all in one race.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like when I looked at some of their stuff and I started thinking about it, like our original Moto scramble, hare scrambles or whatever, like we had those rollers up on top and then the verticross and then some wicked downhills.
Right.
And there was only a few sections where it did get one line for a bit. I almost thought like if we pulled those out to keep the velocity up, I think that'd be really appealing, especially because I think like those areas in there, if you remember, that was where we had our wickedest track breakdown and things just kind of started going south. But the moto track hung together, the verticross hung together. Like I think we could do, whether it be 4 hours or 8 hours, that would be pretty cool. And then if we add the other thing, like you say, a short track and verticross section, or a short track and enduro cross, that would add some really cool spectator stuff. And also the short track would give you a little bit of a breather, I think.
Right.
So
yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
All right, we'll do that. Let's do that.
All right, that we'll put that down tentatively. And anyway, whatever we do, guys, we'll make sure everybody knows and we get the word out there. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Yeah, any more questions on that, on the races there?
No, I think I've just kind of been thinking about stuff. I mean, it's coming up fast. It's less than a month away.
We're getting there. it's getting there really fast. For me, it was like, I couldn't believe when I got to look, and it's like 3 weeks away, and we're going to be racing. So it's like,
Yeah.
You guys have all been riding. I've been skiing. Now I'm sitting.
Yeah.
I better get some riding in, so I at least look like I know what I'm doing.
If I could go skiing, I would. I've just been kicking myself because this winter is a disaster for me for skiing. Like last year, I think I got out to the hills 3 times.
Right.
And I skied here a little more, but this year is terrible.
Yeah.
I got to make up for it next year.
All the guys were asking about you, so
I'll be back.
You'll be
next
back.
Year. Yeah, I'll be back.
I'll have to get. We got our patches, our TPST patches. I'll have to show them to you. Carson.
Oh, has it got Bigfoot on it?
They got big Yeti on there. It's
Awesome.
pretty cool. It's very cool. So
I'm a big fan.
hey, we got to have you make, because that's going to be like the gypsy, mascot kind of a thing. So we need to have you do another AI gypsy Yeti on a dirt bike.
Okay, let me pick the best one here.
All right.
I'll get it open up here, and then we'll do a screen share
Awesome. Okay.
if I can remember how to do it.
You were talking about the races and stuff. You know what would be cool, like after season, is I did this thing called Day in the Dirt down south,
Oh yeah, for sure.
and they have this team moto race, and you have it basically looks like a woman's hairband,
Okay.
and like if me, you, and Aaron did it, you do a lap, you come in, you hand off the thing, put it on my arm, and I take off, I do a lap, I do it, and it's a team event. But that'd be fun just for a one-off race to do just off season.
Oh yeah, we've done those before. They're a
Oh, have you?
blast. Yeah, I love that idea. I was kind of thinking some of our practice days, incorporating some of that kind of stuff into them.
Oh yeah.
So
That'd
we
be
could
fun.
actually have some practice days with unofficial race type things, but yeah, just to kind of bring the fun. There you
Yeah,
go.
that looks good, Aaron.
That's awesome.
That's the one, eh?
That's it. Now we just need to get the Gypsy Moto logo
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
That'd be.
Oh, I get, so on Chat GTP you get so many a day, so I can do 8 more or whatever. I can add it to this.
Okay. We'll be looking to see what you can make us. That'd be
Okay.
awesome.
Something to look forward to.
Something to look forward to. And, if you come to the Gypsies, watch out, because our Yeti is up on the hill. And you might be always watching from behind a tree, or might be out standing alongside the track every once in a while. So, kids, if you come, keep your eye out. He's out there.
So he showed back up.
He showed back up for sure. Yeah. Well, that's it for the races, and we'll get you more information next week, guys. But did want to kind of touch base on some of the things that happened at the Birmingham Supercross. So, anybody got any thoughts on that or whatever?
Man, the racing's been good, but my gosh, I mean, Deegan, they ought to give him like a dead start. Make him start with his bike off and his hand on his helmet and
Backwards.
GP start where he runs to his bike or something. Because, when I saw him coming through the pack, I was like, oh, this is going to end up being a snoozer. And sure enough, man, he came through like hot knife through butter, man. Just boom, he was in first, gone.
It is super exciting, though, to watch somebody like that, if they give it the coverage, to watch them coming through the pack. For me, at least,
Yeah.
and that might be an outdoor motocross thing why I like it, but I do like to see, I love to see Eli when he gets a bad start, and you see him come through. I love to see Ken. Love to see Hunter. Any of the fast guys. That's always exciting to see. And, it happened far enough back that there was some of that for a while. It wasn't like he got there in 2 laps. He had to work for it, so.
Now, what'd you think about Tomac? To me, Prado held him up whenever Hunter was sprinting away. It's like, oh, come on, get out of your way, man.
I'm glad you said that, because I haven't really said it to anybody besides Vicky, but I was thinking that, and I was yelling the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, get out of the way! It's like, are you on his team or not? You know, and I get thinks he can win, wants to win, but boy, we better not hear from Hunter anything about Prado blocking for Tomac, because that is just the opposite. And being a Tomac fan, it was like compounding. You know, it was like, come on, man.
I know. I was doing the same thing, man.
Yeah, because I think he would have been there.
Absolutely.
But he just kind of got behind him, and then Tomac has a tendency to do that if he doesn't get into that artificial reality thing and, you know, go to beast mode. Then he kind of manages, and that's kind of what I think we saw.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, it does. I agree 100%, and I do think we see that in Tomac where for some reason he's just not there, and it's just kind of it's surprising how wide the swings are.
Yeah.
You know, because he was 30 seconds behind or something by the end, right?
Has there ever been a rider in your mind that has had so many variables?
Right.
No.
For me, I don't think there is. And, you know, I've watched that for years. And honestly, I used to hate it, but now it's probably also why I do respect him so much, because I think he's that guy that can decide, is today the day or not the day? You know, and being a big mountain skier, that's important, because that's kind of one of those things that you have to be wise enough to decide, is today the day or not the day, to go or not to go, and to make the good judgment so that you can stay alive and ski, you know, for the rest of your life, kind of thing, instead of making the wrong decision and end up under 10 feet of snow. I see that with Tomac, and I think that's why he's had such a long career that has been underrated, because he'll do that. You know, he'll just decide today's not my day, and he will do the best that he feels like he can do without going to that place where he might crash, you know, or mess it up. So.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, other than the Achilles thing, he's been, I mean, he's not injury free, but he hasn't spent a lot of time with really big injuries or frequent injuries, right. Which, I mean, that's why he's the second winningest rider ever now, right?
Right.
Yep.
And I think if it weren't for, I mean, where would he be without the Achilles thing? And that was just an absolute freak deal. Like,
or the double.
He didn't make a big mistake.
Where would he be without the double shoulder injury thing, the shoulder blade or scapula injury? That, I mean, what we saw when he was on the Honda, when he crashed at Lakewood, if that person, I truly believe we'd have seen somebody that was the new GOAT and had, you know, the best Supercross record and best outdoor record, had that not happened. But, who knows what it could have.
He's had to contend with some real tough nuts too. If you think about, you know, with Roxon and Webb for his entire career, and not to mention Barsha, Mookie, any of these guys could win a race. And
you know, he started. If you think about it, he's raced both Ryans.
Yeah.
He's raced. Well, everybody he's raced has been a former champion. And I don't know if we've ever had anybody that's been in a career that had that many greats and still had that kind of a, well, there isn't, but that's had that kind of a, you know, a record. So, yeah. He's definitely a phenom.
Indoor and outdoor.
Indoor and outdoor, for sure. How about Cooper and him? Cooper gets all wrapped up in his back wheel. And
oh, man.
It was crazy.
That was terrible.
It was.
That was, you know, I have a problem with, it's like I had a KTM X number of years ago, and it had one of these pop-off sides with the quick clip filter. I'm like, dude, I got the 5 minutes. I'll gladly screw it in there, you know, for the security.
Yep.
And now they've all got them, and I'm like, I don't get it. It's like,
there's definitely something to be said for it being under the seat and protected, right?
Yeah.
Not near as handy, but man, that's, for me, that was probably the biggest takeaway there, because There's many times at races I'd go by KTM guys and go, God, that would be awful nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, it takes you just a couple minutes just to get in there, clean everything off, pull the filter off, put a new one in. It's not.
Now, do you do that with us guys that have electric start?
What do I look
Do
at
you,
your?
go by, do you go by and go, man, that would be nice?
You know, if you ever stall it, you're thinking that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing about riding a Suzuki is you get that death grip. If you go down, man, you got that clutch just on lock and you do not let go.
Now, do you have a recluse on your bike?
I do, but
Okay.
but I have the torque drive recluse, so it doesn't help.
It'll still stall.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're just like a standard clutch, but they have 13 plates, I believe it is, instead of, I think it's like standard's like 5 or 7, and then Henson's 9, and then I think torque drive is 13. Isn't that right, Aaron?
Yeah, it's awesome. Whatever it is, a bunch of them.
There's a bunch.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Now, do you have a hydraulic clutch?
You don't need them with those.
Oh.
Actually, you wouldn't want one because you wouldn't have the feel.
Oh, okay.
I think a hydraulic clutch and a torque drive would suck. You'd have no feel at all. I might be wrong, and maybe somebody out there is doing it and they like it, but for me, I think I could relate to what Tomac's saying, where he wanted a standard clutch just because having had hydraulic clutches, they're soft, but that's the only thing I see that's good about them. With the torque drive, if it's running, it's like one finger pull, so you're riding, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But you get so much feedback. That torque drive, it's like you can feel everything the motor's doing, and it's just like little increments. It feels to me like, this is what I feel like. It feels like you've got a carving knife on wood. You can just feel it like going through every grain as it's grabbing. So
It's real direct and quick.
yeah.
In fact, I have one too, and I went and added the cowl master cylinder because it's got a different. And I read about it, like I didn't figure it out myself, but it's got a different lever ratio, so it slows it down quite a bit, and it does make it pull easier. But after I went to the torque drive, the pull wasn't an issue anymore. The stock Honda pull is stiff, but going to the torque drive made a huge difference. Or it's the Apex is just the new name for it, but it's the same thing. But when you go to the torque drive, I feel like if you have a quick engagement, it's even quicker.
Right.
And so going to the cowl lever, and right away, I feel like it's more effective. It's easier to control the start because the torque drive is just like bam. It's honestly like having a race clutch. If you're a car guy and you go to a race clutch, they're instant.
And if you were just going to go out and play ride with a torque drive, you're going to hate it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel that way, but that's how I feel. Like if I'm just going to go out and ride around, if I was going to take it to the woods and ride and, not just be on the gas, it's just not made for that. But if you're on the gas, the reward is just huge because it's just like the pull lightens up, and then just you have so much more power going to the rear wheel. It's not even close because like you get on a stock one and it feels like the bike's doggy. It's not. It's just not getting the drive to the rear tire like a torque drive does.
And they're noisy.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they are.
Yeah, that's true.
They're making a lot of noise. But I'm a fan.
Yep. 100%.
Proudly made in the USA.
Yep, that's right. How about, there's some other things that happened in the race. Well, let's go back to Tomac and his hit on Cooper. There's been a lot of people thinking that was a dirty move by Tomac, and it's like, I don't see it that way. It's kind of like Tomac saw an opportunity, he's going for it, and then Cooper was already turning down, and so kind of made contact. And Tomac did say, in retrospect, that maybe that was a little bit more aggressive than he should have taken. Which was a good retrospect in his mind, it would be like, if that happens again, maybe I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But, in no way was that Tomac's going to go take out Cooper.
It wasn't a takeout. No, I didn't think so.
No, and what I thought was kind of cool about it, even though it ended in a crash, was how aggressive Cooper was. That was definitely not Cooper's fault, but it was just cool to see him making it happen.
Right.
He's kind of been going for it lately, though. Last couple races.
He's got the makings of a champion. I think that's a guy that, if he finally gets there, he's going to be there, because he's definitely got the ability. I just think he needs to know he can.
Yeah.
It's kind of all you got to do is get that win and know that, hey, you can do it, and people can change. Anyway, hopefully he gets.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, and I kind of think what happened there was Tomac always rides with a lot of authority. You generally don't see him get held up by anybody.
Right.
And so I think it's like an authoritative Tomac taking his spot on the track, which he rightfully had, right. And Cooper trying, I think if it was nobody's fault that Cooper didn't cut down, and the old Cooper would have stayed up there. Right. You know what I mean?
Yep. So True. And then there was the one I'm really wanting to discuss a little bit, get you guys' input on it, is the Pierce Brown, I can't remember Tim Ferry's son. What's his name?
Evan
Ferry deal. I mean, to me, it seems like it was an excessive penalty. I mean, I'm all about, hey, let's follow the rules and enforce the rules and whatever. But to me, when you assess that many things, a fine, take away points from your license, and then also take away points from the series, I got to ask myself, like, when you put a rider into negative territory on their license, well, I don't know if that's a smart thing either. And
right.
And I don't know that I can't see where it's necessarily justified. That's what probably was the biggest thing.
I just wonder who he pissed off. It's like, why was this such an egregious, penalty?
Right. And then, on to Mark, to go along with that is Tim Ferry. I mean, is this something that goes back to something there?
Supposedly, and this is just hearsay, but they say that the kid is really hard to work with.
Oh.
That's why, he was at Pro Circuit for, 1 year, and they ran him out, pretty much. They said that he's hard. Everything I've read is that he's hard to work with. He's not, he's kind of I don't know, maybe riding on Dad's coattails that, he deserves this and he deserves it. I don't know. Never met the kid, don't know anything about it. That's just what I've heard.
So there might be more to the story. Well, I'm definitely going to look into it, because that was one that I just was kind of like, gal, I don't get it, because I've seen people do far worse and get no penalty.
Yep.
Actually,
that's why the way it's been all year, and that's why everybody's complaining, is it's like, you either stick to the rules or don't.
Well, Freesy could have done it, and he'd have got a whole bunch of more airtime talking about how that was a great movie he did there, and it was, took the pass with authority and all that. So I don't know.
The thing I struggle with, like, being a big corporate guy, I mean, working in a lot of industry, working in manufacturing, is it's like all this stuff just kind of spells poor management. Like, all this, was it because why does Star always end up on the long end of this deal? And we're constantly talking about blue flags, red flags, and it's like there's just all this uncertainty, and it's like, you should just have a policy and have good, and develop a sound policy and go with it. Right. And that's, to me, like, the Ferry thing, I agree with what you guys are saying. Then also it's like, another week and another controversy, and rather than just have a policy and follow it, and even open it up to subjective discussion. Like, there's all this talk about, well, he might have seen it, or like when we talk about the yellow flags and blue flags and red lights, he might have seen it, he might not. And I think of, like, so I go in a lot of OSHA situations, and it's like when you have a eyeglass required or steel toes required, it doesn't matter whether you see the sign or you don't.
Right.
If you step over the eyeglass line without your eyeglasses, you lose your job.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which seems extreme, but what it does is, lo and behold, people don't lose their eye anymore.
Right.
Like, that's how it works. And the one that cracks me up the most is the whole blue flag deal. And not to pick just on Freezy, but he's so easy to pick on. But it's like, it's amazing how when he's getting lapped, he has no idea who's behind him. Like, oh, I had no idea. I didn't see the blue flag. I have no idea. Yet, when he gets a start and he's ahead of these guys on the same lap, somehow he's got eyes in the back of his head. It's just, and yet, the fact that we're even listening to the discussion, like, it's like he's already, like, then they've already won. The fox is guarding the chicken house or whatever. It's like, once you start having that discussion, it's over. Like, it shouldn't matter whether you saw the lights, whether you didn't, what situation you were in. And to me, it's laughable that we're talking about these comms, because it's like, oh, I didn't hear it. Oh, my radio didn't work. That's all it'll be forever. And at least we can say, well, you didn't see the blue flag, but we knew it was out there because we could all see it. And we start talking about comms, and they say, well, my comm isn't working. There's no way of proving that. So then it's like, okay, we're going to have comms, but we're never going to use them for a penalty, because in every case, the rider can just say it wasn't working. And we already have established that we're going to listen to whatever the hell the rider says. And it's just like, if they ran a factory like that, they'd be out of business. I mean, not to bitch about the AMA too much, but it's like there's a reason why corporations run the way they do.
Right.
And at the end of the day, they have to make money. And with this AMA stuff, it's just like every time it's just discussion.
And that's something that I think we need to get to the bottom of to really find out, because people want to know. Is it Feld that is the clown show? Or is it AMA that's the clown show? Or AMA Pro that's the clown show? And I happen to know some of the stuff on the AMA Pro side of things when it comes to motocross and motocross and supercross. I would tend to say it's not AMA Pro on that one, just having asked the question here recently. And if that's not the case, so if it's either AMA Ohio or AMA or Feld, somehow that needs to come out so we know who it really is and what that structure is. Who gets to make the decision, because yes, it's Ezra Lusk and somebody else, I can't remember who's making these decisions, but are they employed by AMA? Because we all know how that works. Yes, like if I'm the head official at our races, I am the head official for the club, but I'm also working capacity as an AMA official, and people might think it's an AMA official type of a thing when I'm really working for the club. Same thing when we look at AMA Pro and the whole flat track thing and how that works. A lot of that stuff's in-house. But then we get all these conflicting stories from when we listen to the broadcast about who's making the decision, how it's happening. Somehow we need to get to the bottom of that and find out who's making the decisions really. And then we find out what is that motivation, because I have a hunch that there's a lot more say on the Feld side than we know about. That's my thought. I don't know if that's...
Now, they're the promoter, right?
They're the promoter, yeah. So
they want the best racing possible as far as, and they want viewership.
That's what they're looking at.
So if that means a little controversy, or if that means, getting one of the, the higher rated racers, if he's, committed, an infraction, maybe turn in your head so that he can stay up to the, I don't know. I would think it would be Feld, because they got the most to lose.
I can tell you.
It's funny because that chain of command is such a, like, when I go in to do some consulting, that's one of the things I start looking for, like who's actually in charge. And when I one of the jobs I was doing recently, we had a big problem, and I'm like, who owns this? Like, this is a failure. Who just failed? who's responsible, who's going to own this failure,
Right.
and then really the point is just to dig out that chain of command, and so often it's because, well, the reason you failed is nobody is in charge.
Right.
Well, there could be just too many entities too. You've got Feld, you got AMA Pro, you got AMA Ohio, there's a lot of fingers in that pie.
And we've had issues throughout history, but it seemed like they were resolved quicker, and it seemed like there was a strong man or strong person that came out and here's the final word. And Kevin, I can't think of his name now. Kevin, who works for AMA Pro, used to be the head race official for Supercross, and sorry, Kevin, I can't remember his name. But now we have Peltier, and so he's supposed to be the figurehead kind of a thing. But then we're hearing all this conflicting stories about, well, then it's Ezra Lusk, I can't remember the other guy. You got all these things. Well, I don't get how that works, and so something has to get fixed there, or else we run into exactly what Aaron's talking about. Who's really in charge? Who makes the decision? And maybe they want it that way. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to make this into this big drama queen thing that it's become. But honestly, I think it's bad for the sport. It ends up being just more like NFL football or basketball, which I want.
WWE or something like that.
Yeah, and we can't have that in racing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe it works in NASCAR, but not in motocross.
Yeah.
No, and look at NASCAR. What's happening? They're taking a dive.
Right.
Their viewership is
Exactly.
And it's funny because I think there is a correlation with, there's obviously some correlations with amateur motocross, but I think the motorcycle club structure, because we've seen a lot of failed and struggling clubs, and if we go back into Gypsy's history, we've had our trials and tribulations, but I do think one of the biggest step forwards we made was when we started the track manager deal, because, I think I suggested that at a meeting, and it came straight from industry. It's because it was like we were in a situation where we were going, we were battling over different little things, and once we went to the track manager, and then we voted we were going to do it, and then the board made the decision, and Brett was named track manager, and only the board could change that. Then all of a sudden, we just didn't need to argue about all this stuff anymore.
Right.
It's like we could suggest it to Brett will listen, but ultimately a decision is made, and then it's just so much easier to move forward when you know who's responsible for what, and then when you can, rather than have two different things go in two different directions, you go a direction, and if it doesn't work, you figure it out, you go a different direction.
Right.
And I guess if there's any other small tracks out there, or big tracks, and we're not a small track, or club tracks, to me, that was critical in our move forward, and we've come so far since then, so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And ultimately, people too have they can talk to whoever they want to, but they ultimately know there's one person you can go, here's what I would like to see, or can we do this, or can't, and then that person can say why or why not. But you have, and it's not maybe just one person, but you at least have you get one decision, then you stick with it instead of 5 decisions, and then it looks like you don't make a decision. Kind of
right. And I'm guessing it's the same in the AMA, whatever's going on, all these people are reasonable people trying to do the right thing, but when you have this disorder, it makes everybody look dumb.
Right. Yep.
What do you think of Deegan's penalty?
I don't like it, but I get it. You got to stick to it, and if that was the rule ahead of time and he knew it, I guess you gotta assess it. I think that first track marker should be thrown out, because where that first one was,
I thought he cut it in the middle.
You went in
right
between
before
the
the
first
apex
one, and then there's 2 more after that. And to me, I'm not there, but yeah, since you're asking the question, I have a big opinion about that one. I think they need to throw away that first track marker, because that's almost too early to have to commit to one of those. That's what I think. But since it was the rule and you already knew it, I guess you got to stick with it.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys have a different. What do you guys think?
No, I think it was fair. I mean, he didn't stay in his line, so
right.
A rule is a rule. That's what I'm talking about. Is
right.
Enforce the rules as they're written, or don't enforce them at all.
Amen.
I agree with Chip.
And
the only thing I'd add is, boy, it seems like split lanes are a roll of the dice. It's,
Yep.
They're tough. They're cool when they work. But man, that one really fell apart.
That one was a bad deal, and that's the only gripe I have about it is just where you had to commit to that one. I don't think it should be 15 feet or whatever that was out. I'm just guessing. I think that where he cut across and those next two would have been a better place to have had that type of a situation. But that's just me. I'm sure they know better. But as far as like sticking to the rule on that one, they did an awesome job.
Yeah, and it's funny because like the split lane thing actually came up when I was hanging out with Landon, and he suggested a split lane as we come down the hill, like come down the big hill, but before we go along the fence, a split lane in there.
Okay. And
I'm like, that could be cool, because it kind of used the outside that we know is good, but it's just like split lane. Just like,
right.
For me, I'm like, oh, you've seen them work so badly so many times, but I don't know.
Well, I think the cool thing about an outdoor track is if you can do it in a place that you can guarantee they're pretty close. I mean, one's always going to be better than the other, and it's going to, keep changing as the race goes on. But if you can do it in a place that everybody commits to it, and then they go off on their diversion, and then they come back into a nice even merging section where you don't have the issues where they merge,
right? Yeah.
Then I think they're cool. Now on that, you're saying what Landon was talking about. So are you saying right by the hip jump in there? Is that what he's saying, or am I misunderstanding?
Yeah, no, right by the hip jump, but on the downhill section.
Okay.
Yeah, like right over the. Then you come over the giant table on top.
Okay.
And then you come down the big downhill, and then you make the left over that hip jump,
okay.
And then right, like over that hip jump, like as you're coming into that corner, over the jump, and then come back together after the next corner.
Okay. So going down that whole long straight, just in between that before you go off the
Yep.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that, because honestly, we've kind of changed that to where I widened it out quite a lot, and we've changed it to where we won't be running the water truck in there anymore, just because it's so close together. So that might be something. Yeah, we'll have to look at that. Interesting.
The one thing I thought too, because we were talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, geez, how do you keep them even? But on an outdoor track, you do have the possibility of adjusting it. Like if at first it's not even, then you adjust it, then eventually you probably get there.
Right. And
I generally like the idea, right, if they work,
How about a water station or a snack station along the track where we can pull in and
a pit stop,
shot of water and a little snack, finish
smoke a cigarette,
have a cocktail.
Right. Do the stop for a beer thing like what's the name of that track in Belgium?
Oh,
remember that 1998 Belgium GP?
Yeah.
That super cool track that's at that, like.
That's not Matterley Basin. No, that's in England.
That's in England.
Matterley Basin.
It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember.
Not Lommel.
That's not.
That's in Belgium, right?
That's not.
I saw Travis Pastrana do that in the pit bike race at Day in the Dirt. He had this souped up Italian-made mini bike, and he was just blowing the doors off everybody. And he was so far ahead. He pulled over to the edge. This guy had a beer. He chugs a beer, hops back on his bike, and takes off.
Those are always the things of legend, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
If I could think of the race, it'd be one that's like everybody knows about it. But I don't know. I can't think of the place. But they race at the Citadel, or they race up through that like castle type thing, and then they'd race through town. So it was almost like a street race as well. Super. Anyway, whoever it was, and I can't even remember his name. He got so far ahead. He was like 45 seconds ahead. He's pulled over, gets up by this pub. All these guys are watching. They bring this beer over to him. They probably already had it figured out. Who knows? But he takes a sip, or pretends he does, or did. I don't know which. I don't know if there's any rules against it or not. There would be nowadays. But anyway, then he takes off and wins the race.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
That sounds like something adapted from the skiing.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Totally something skiers would do.
That does sound like something happening in Austria. Man, some of the stories you hear from some of those are like, wow, really? That really happened? For sure. Honestly, some of the stuff that happened in the 80s skiing, you go back and like, I witnessed it or was part of it, and it's like, wow, that really happened.
I have not seen a nude skier for decades.
That's true. You don't see any of that anymore.
No.
That's so true. Yeah. I was skiing with a guy. We're talking about skiing. I'll get through this quick, but I was skiing with a guy, and he's like talking about how, Hot Dog was such a great movie. He goes, so I got it, and I watched it with my two daughters, and then he was like, wait, oh no, close your eyes. And I did not realize how normalized that had become. And it's like, yeah, things have changed for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so any other thoughts on the race, or?
No, we just got to let it all. It's kind of weird. I'm at a point now to where I just want the outdoors to start, because I want to see how Deegan stacks against Jet.
I'm ready for outdoors, hands down. It's just it's time.
I mean, I love Supercross, but I'm just ready to see, because they're building Deegan up, and I mean, great talent. The kid's a great talent, but I mean, to just go in and unseat Jet, I don't know, man.
Yeah, so
I think it's going to be some good racing.
I was going to ask you a question, but it looks like you already answered what you think. Think it's going to take him a little while?
I think it will. I mean, Jet, just watching them at the Motocross of Nations, I was standing by the track, and my gosh, you got the best riders in the world, and they're all hitting the same line, same jumps, same this, same that. And then you'd hear Jet come by, and his bike could just be like, brrr. It was not revving. He wasn't screaming. And he'd just do stuff that nobody else was doing.
Honda, baby.
That's right.
I was just watching. I told my wife, I said, watch Jet. And she goes, oh my gosh. She goes, he's landing over here on the jump where everybody else is, 20 yards shorter.
That one step up he was doing where he would come up and then tap the rear brake, and then he'd be nosing in, and then he'd just throttle up at the bottom. That was just like, it was.
I watched on this corner. It was like an uphill turn, and there was like a double, and everybody was just clearing it. Just landing on the back side of the double, and then Jet would come by, and he carries so much rolling speed and so much corner speed. He was hitting it, and he was jumping into the next corner, and turning it into like a long triple. But his bike was always just like really low RPM, just brrr. And he'd just be gone. And I was like, wow. I mean, and nobody else was doing what he was doing. Nobody. And I saw one European rider try it, and he about went over the handlebars. He about ate it. But Jet is just, I don't know. I'm not ready to pull the plug on him yet for the flavor of the month.
Right.
I'm a Kawasaki guy, so I'm always pulling for the Cowie guys. But I mean, Jet is phenomenal.
So on that note, what about Chase? Oh, go ahead, Aaron.
He's coming back this weekend.
Yeah, he is going to be okay. What were you going to say, Aaron?
I think everybody's overselling Hayden's transfer to the 450 because, it's a big step, and also we have this weird situation in the 250s right now where we know for a fact that day in and day out those Yamahas are considerably stronger than everything else there, and And so how do you know, that is not going to happen in the 450s.
Mhm.
Like, the horsepower does not matter that much. They
Right.
all have too much. And I also think going in, he's a smaller guy, which is not an advantage in the 450s anymore. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a small guy too, and he does have a ton of talent. But when I look at guys like Ryder D, who sometimes give him a run for his money, and Kitchen, who sometimes gives him a run for his money, and Joe sometimes gives him a run for the money, you put all those same guys on equal bikes, it's going to change the story. So I actually feel like the story that we're seeing in 250s is really twisted because of the Yamaha having more power. And then
See, I don't know if it's the bikes though. I mean, like Ryder D, I always hear him say, "Oh, he's blah blah blah." He hasn't shown me anything. He'll qualify good once in a while, but he always either crashes or finishes, 6th or 7th place. And I don't think it's because of the bike. I really don't. And same for Kitchen. When Kitchen's on, he's right up there with him. I mean, he's battling with him. But I don't. No doubt the star bikes are, they're getting good starts for sure, but I don't know. I just think talent-wise with Deegan, this kid is a prodigy. I mean, he started when, doing backflips when he was 10 years old on a bike. So this kid's lived every minute of his life on a bike with his own track and everything like that. So
I'll just go down and say I don't agree. I don't think backflips transfer to speed.
Hey, can you log him off, Greg?
This is going to be a
He's
good one.
disagreeing with me. I don't like this.
Now we got some controversy. We have our own. This is going to be a great one to keep recapping throughout the season. I'm kind of excited to see.
Yeah.
I'm going to be that neutral guy on this one.
I can go along with the Jet comments. Like, Jet's doing some amazing stuff. But in terms of just pure talent, I think the guy that's impressing me the most right now is probably Joe. He's definitely on an inferior bike. We all know it. He makes almost no mistakes. He's doing some really cool stuff. I do think Deegan's fast and talented, and he's the right guy for a really powerful 250. But that doesn't always transfer to. I mean, if we think about it, and I love Justin Barsha, but Justin Barsha going through the 250s was like, that dude, like he's unstoppable. But that was when Honda had a superior 250. And I also don't, as much as Barsha's a solid 450 rider, his skills did not transfer to the 450. He's never that wide open, and honestly, I look at who else is on the rev limiter all the time. And is it going to, for some reason, is it going to transfer for Hayden that it wouldn't for Justin? I could be way off, and maybe he's going to win the championship outdoors this summer and for the next 10 years. But I just think I don't really see in him what it takes to be a really good 450 rider. And I actually do in Joe, Kitchen, and Ryder. That, in my opinion, I think those guys are more precise.
So, since you guys are bringing it to this, let's have your predictions for the season. Chip, starting with you, what place do you think Deegan gets in the 450s?
I mean, I'll put him on the podium. I would say third.
Third, okay.
For the season?
Third for the season. And how about you? This will be a fun, friendly. Just to see, you know what I mean? It's going to make it fun. How about you, Chip or Aaron?
7 to 11.
Okay. And I'm not going to make a prediction, so I don't even have to be involved in that one. So it's going to be
Come on, Brett.
Me? Okay. I can't do that to you. You're right. Me, I am going to put him. I'm going to say that he does 8th place. That's kind of where I think he'll be over the entire season. I think that he'll have some times he shines, and then I think he's going to have that rookie year thing where there's times that he doesn't. But still, 8th is pretty good. And so that's kind of where I put him.
See, I would definitely say that. Only reason why I say that he'll be, a little bit higher is he's been riding the 450 since, for years. This isn't something that he just, hey, I'm getting a 450 ride. I'm going to start practicing on the 450. Apparently, he's been riding it for years, is what I read.
Right.
So it's nothing new to him. And on his 250, he's turning lap times as fast as a lot of the 450s.
And I agree with that. I'm just putting, when you go, like, even in the amateur class, when you are the A class 250 guy and then you move up to the A class 450 guys, unless you're are mature beyond your age, which he is, there's still that learning curve because everybody is going to look at you differently. So nobody's going to respect Deegan like they do in that, because they're all champions.
They're all champions, yeah.
And Deegan's also going to be, I think, somewhat presumptuous. And he's going to learn that you can only be so presumptuous with certain people. And let's say that Bam Bam or somebody like that is back racing. I'm just going to use that for an example. That's somebody who's going to run over the top of him and think, oh, that was fun. We had a great race. We were battling, and not even know any better. And I just think there's going to be, it's a whole different animal. So that's why I think there's going to be that time he gets out ahead and he stays out ahead of Jet and Tomac and Hunter for a little while and Kenny. And then just because he either does the Jet thing and he, keeps going and he might get that done. But I think there's also going to be the time where they all hunt him down and then he gets past. And then I think there's going to be times he's buried in the pack. Yeah. And he doesn't have that. So that's why I say 8th, because I think he's going to have the times he shines, the times that he is the rookie and he's got the learning to do. Yeah.
So just to let you guys know, when I win, I like my milkshakes chocolate.
Okay.
You both owe me a chocolate milkshake.
All right. That's fair. That's fair.
This will be fun.
So I think this summer is going to be really important for Jet. There's a lot of indications that he is an absolute phenom, but can it be cut short? Or, how much of that is developing fears, fitness, all these things, especially with Hunter. Hunter just seems to be on this constant gradient, and
getting better. And on that note, you've got Tomac on a bike that really agrees with him.
Yeah.
In his element. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like when we watch Supercross, he's not a Supercross rider. He's had to be a Supercross rider. He's never been a Supercross rider. But he is an outdoor rider. And he's going to be on a bike that totally looks like it's part of his body. So even at his age, I don't think we can count him out. And I know I'm the consummate Tomac fan, but that's coming from an educated observation. So that's another one that's going to be right there. That Jet's been amazing, but Eli was on a Yamaha, and that was kind of like.
And then what are we going to get with Sexton? Is Villapoto going to turn around that program and get the bike right where he wants it? And because we know he can be the fastest guy on the track.
It'll be interesting because I would have to say I had the same thoughts on Kawasaki. I think the bike is there, but they've got problems. There's something. They have problems.
There's something.
Something, and maybe a guy like Villapoto, who he's a strong personality.
Right.
Yeah.
He might. Because you would say, "Oh, Villapoto, what's an old racer got to do with the race team?" Well, Roger DeCoster would tell us a lot.
There's no better example.
Yeah. So, and in fact, you think about it. I didn't really put it together until just this moment, but Cow is kind of lacking. They don't have that old racer management member,
right?
And we've seen that be the part of the most successful teams ever. With Roger being, everywhere he went won. I mean, there's something to that, you know.
Yep.
So
everywhere, Honda, Suzuki, KTM. Before that, what other? Well, Suzuki before that again, the first time.
Yeah.
So.
And I think a lot of Ryan Villapoto, just in terms of as a racer, as a person, and just like an incredible honesty about him, you know. And I think that's part of what rubbed. I don't know if it rubs people wrong. I mean, he is who he is, and kind of like I was saying a few weeks ago, racers develop as racers, not necessarily as comfy personalities to be around, but they get shit done. And I would love to see Poto have another big victory in his life, because he's probably, you know, he's near the top, or him and Jeff Ward for me, like being an old Cowie guy too.
And something on that note is he's more like a coach. You know, there's lots of ways to learn lots of sports, but everybody has their talents. There's some people that are teachers, and then there's some people that are coaches, and they're very different. You know, the teacher can give you all the fundamentals. They can get you doing everything like you should, but the coach is that person that inspires you, brings things out from inside you. Maybe not even inspires you, but just like ticks you off, or whatever it takes. That person that can find out what makes you tick to make you, you know, be the most that you can be. And I think Ryan Villapoto's that guy. Just he's that serious dude that can figure out how to push the buttons, and I think he might be a great coach.
Now, do you think that's the same thing Chad Reed's doing right now?
You know, I think
what's all the Club MX, and then Club MX that he's at, right?
I don't know.
I mean, those guys are finishing better than they've ever finished.
Right.
I don't know what his whole thing is there, but I think the one thing about Chad is he can speak to people and people will listen. And he's also, you know, he's kind of got that thing of Bubba, where whether you're a Bubba fan or not, after he says something about a particular move on the track or a particular feature, it's like, oh, that was very insightful. And I think Chad Reed's one of those very insightful people. I don't know what he's like as a coach, but I could see him being that guy that could do that. So.
Right.
Well, you know, it's funny you mentioned teacher versus coach, because that, by the way, is a common terminology within the teaching world. And I just this last week, I did a project with some of my colleagues from the School of Mines, and we broke it. We know that, like, there's two of us, me and Landy, who are coaches, and then Cassandra, who's a teacher, and we view her as a great teacher, you know. And the difference is, as coaches, teaching coaches, you deliver the information and then you take the feedback. Like, then you go one-on-one and try and with the students, try and figure out what they're doing. And I think that's a good analogy for Villapoto, especially like after listening to him talk about Ryder D, like just as much I think as Ryan was giving Ryder information, he was taking that feedback, learning that kid, and trying to figure out what do we got to do for this kid.
Right.
And I think that could be really powerful for Chase, because I think Chase's problems are unique to Chase, you know.
Boy, yeah, that is so true. Really, that's what our whole conversations have been about, Chase. Or, you know, I think we've expressed it many times that the things that we see where he falls down is that part that he can't get figured out because he hasn't had that coach type figure. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he hasn't had that person that can help him get his head on straight, and it's going to be that person that finds out what makes Chase tick. It's like Chase, all of it's there, but we got to figure out what makes Chase become superhuman, live in a false reality, and ride like he, you know, is just kind of on the edge of reality. Because honestly, I don't care what sport you're in, if you can be in whatever you want to call it, that flow state, whatever it is, it's that edge of reality, and we've all experienced it at some point or another. And as you continue in those sports, you get to where you actually participate in that sport at that level, and you keep going further and further and further in it. It's getting him to be able to be there and live and react and not screw up in that false reality. And somebody's going to get it figured out, or else if they don't, then he maybe has no hope. But
I hope so.
I do too.
That's fun. In fact, if you think about that, going into this summer, assuming everybody stays healthy, I'd say Chase, Eli, and Jet are 3 riders that on their day, you can't touch them.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
So I hope we see a lot. I feel like Eli, it's almost money in the bank. Eli is going to have, whatever you want to call it, beast mode days this summer, because I agree. I think the KTM's a better outdoor bike than it is an indoor bike.
Sure.
And clearly it works for Eli really well. Mm-hmm. And the moral, or the thing we always hear about that Austrian motor is that it can make more power than any other bike out there. And I think Eli's one of the guys that can use it.
Right.
Now, with that in mind, what about Prado? Is this going to be his year outdoors?
That's why I went with 8, because I was counting in my head all the different people that I could think of that could be an issue. That's why I picked 8, and Prado was one of them. And he's already proven that he's an outdoor guy. He's never really... Those GP guys, they're not Supercross guys. That's a whole new thing. They come here and they learn.
Right.
And our tracks have continuously gotten a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more like GP tracks over the last few years. And I just kind of think that he's another one you cannot count out now that he's on a bike that he's already been a world champion on.
Yeah.
With a brand that he's already been a world champion on. So, long answer, but yes, I think he's going to be a huge factor.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a good summer.
It is. It is.
The Gypsy Moto Crew is going to be at the Lakewood.
That's right.
Thunder Valley, right?
That's right. The whole crew's going. Everybody we can get, and anybody that wants to come with us, we're going to be talking more about that, and we're kind of going to try to get something set up where we can all stay at the same place and kind of have a big group, and then have our cheering section there. So if you want to be part of that, just keep paying attention. We'll let you know how to get a hold of us and take part in that. So.
Hey, Landon and his dad, I think, are both coming up for the April ride. So, and they'll definitely be at Lakewood. So maybe you guys can haul bikes down there and go up to Netherlands or wherever the heck he rides down there. And
awesome. That'll be cool.
I would love to go, but I'm not going to commit yet. That's
oh, gee.
We're going to keep working on you.
It's a long drive.
What do you got? A badminton tournament or something?
Yeah, I got to wax my goldfish that week.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. We will see you later.
All right. Thanks a lot.